What's up, guys? VitalSyntax here, and welcome to my first ever mailbox or reply video to messages that I've received on here on YouTube, on Twitter, on Facebook. I've got quite a few of them, and I've narrowed it down to the ones I thought were most appropriate. But if you guys want to leave your questions for the next episode of this reply series, I don't really have a title for it yet. Leave those questions down in the comments of the comment section of this video, and I'll make sure to go through those for the next time. And I might do this on a bi-weekly or weekly basis. I'm not really sure. We'll see how it works out. So anyway, let's jump into the first question that comes from Mitch K. And he says that I should play and post some PlanetSide 2 gameplay. And he'd love to see my spin on the weapons, the guns, and the vehicles and the game itself. I will say I have played PlanetSide 2, but not nearly enough as I'd want to. I'm going to re-download it right now off of Steam just because you reminded me to, and try it out again because I'm always looking for games to play, and for some reason I just haven't given PlanetSide 2 a chance to really try it out. I really like the way they spawn vehicles, where it's not just whoever gets to it first, like in Battlefield. You actually have to earn points and you can buy those vehicles. I really like the massive scale warfare, but I think one of the biggest things that I need to do to really enjoy the game properly, which is something that I really haven't done in the past, is play with a larger group of people. I played with maybe one person in the past, or I played by myself. I need to find a group of like 3 or 4 people. Play as a squad, because this is a really team-oriented game that I think would be a lot better and a lot more enjoyable when you're playing with a group of people. So I will get on that hopefully soon. I'll keep you posted. So next question comes from Aldex1997, and he says, how did I get into gaming, and how old was I when I first started gaming? Well, I don't know the exact ages, but I do remember the first device that I owned, or me and my brothers owned. I have two, a younger and an older brother, was a Game Boy Pocket, and we owned Pokemon Red. That was the very first game we owned. And then the very first game console I owned was the PS1, and we had Tony Hawk Pro Skater. We were all into skateboarding at the time, and Frogger game, and I think that was the first game console I owned. And I have very fond memories of that platform. But I don't remember exactly how old I was, but those are the first systems that I played on. All right, next question comes from Dubstep Bubbles, and he says, hey, Vital, I have a question. I'm 16, and on a $1,500 budget, I need a PC and all of its accessories, including mouse, keyboard, monitor, etc. And he says he has no idea where to look, and he just wants some suggestions on hardware. Well, the first thing I would say is, although I think that building a PC yourself is definitely the best way to go if you're looking to save money. It's definitely the best way to go if that's something that you might enjoy. But building a PC isn't for everybody. I know a lot of people that are PC gamers that you ask them, how do I get into PC gaming? They say you have to build your own gaming PC. I don't think that's always the case. I think there are people out there that don't actually want to build themselves a computer that may benefit from spending $100 or $200 to have somebody else build it. So that's something you want to consider. Although I would personally recommend at least trying to get into building it yourself, because for me it's become a hobby. It's become something I've really enjoyed, but it's not necessarily for everybody. And if you do want to get into PC gaming, you're maybe a console player, but you don't want to go through the hassle of researching all the components, finding out which ones are compatible, finding out which ones are the best price for your money, which can be a tedious process, and that's something that I actually enjoy. But if that's not something for you, then maybe you should go with a company like NCIX or CyberPower PC, where they'll essentially build a computer for you. They give you a warranty, which is really awesome. That way, you're not really reliable if something ever breaks or you didn't configure it properly. And you're gonna get a great system, and you might only have to pay a couple $100. It's usually like $100 or $200 extra for them to do the building of the PC themselves. Although I will put a link in the description to my PC specs, which are some of the things that I would recommend checking out. Things like the new GTX series from NVIDIA, like the 670. If you're on, I think your budget would probably be around a 670. You definitely want to go high on graphics card. You don't really need to spend a whole lot of money on RAM. You don't need anything higher than 1600 megahertz, in my opinion. You don't need to, get the best end processor with hyper-threading unless you're doing rendering. So maybe just get an i5 or even an AMD processor, because they're going to give you a lot better price for or a punch for your money. But another thing to keep in mind is that your monitor, your keyboard, your mouse, your power supply, and your case are all things that you usually keep while you upgrade the other parts of your computer. So you definitely don't want to skimp out on those products, especially your power supply, because if anything ever goes wrong with your power supply, it can destroy the inside of basically every other part of your computer. All right, moving on to the next question from WRKHRDPL. I don't even want to pronounce the rest of it. Question, he says, what do you think of the Xbox or console gaming blocking used games? So this is something that's been announced recently for the Xbox 720, supposed name, and the PS4. And in my opinion, it's actually a good thing. I am actually personally against used games because I don't work in the game publishing company or a business, but I have friends that are either in school for game development. I have colleagues that are currently working for some smaller indie developing companies like that. And I also have some experience with the back end of developing games. And the used game market is just, it's good for customers, but it's also kind of a ripoff. And the people that are actually making the money off of it are companies like GameStop. And GameStop, they're not doing any of the developing of the game. And I think it's actually better to go out and buy a full purchased game like, or maybe not even fully purchased. If you look at something like Steam, as games get older and they're not brand new games, they actually go on sale. And I'm hoping that's something we'll see with the Xbox 720 and the PS4 is that if we don't have used games, they really have to have this downloadable game market like we see on Steam, and it has to be well priced. So that's kind of my opinion on used games and the next gen of consoles. All right, next question comes from Miguel Perez. He says, ass or boobs? I'm a titties man. That's such a weird question. Okay, anyway, Trill Rada asks, do you think using a mouse and keyboard is cheating on consoles? Well, yes, it is. It's actually against the terms of service, I believe, on the Xbox 360. I don't know about the PS3. Although, I mean, it should be because you have a huge advantage over somebody that's using a controller. Although I'm curious how it's going to play out in the next generation of consoles because you have something like the Steam box, which in some senses is a PC, in some senses is a console. It's going to come with a controller, at least I've heard that it is. But you're obviously going to be able to use a mouse and keyboard with something like a Steam box. So I'm curious how that's going to play if if you're playing with a controller versus somebody that has a mouse and keyboard, and you're playing on the Steam box. You're obviously playing with actual PC gamers that maybe have custom built PCs that are using keyboards and mice. You're going to be at a disadvantage, and I don't know how that's going to play out. So same way with consoles, I'm curious if you're going to be limited to the controller that they offer, or if you're going to be able to plug in a keyboard or mouse. There's always that balancing issue of, is it fair? Well, I don't know. Probably not. All right, so the next and last question comes from Evil Monk I54, and he says, VitalSyntax, are you studying or working at the moment? Well, technically, I'm still a student at a university studying computer science. I would probably be considered a junior. But this quarter and probably the next quarter or maybe the next year, I'm not going to be taking classes and focusing on YouTube, some graphic and web design stuff on the side as well. So right now I'm not really a student because I'm not taking classes. Although I'm still working on a degree, it's kind of taking a break, I guess you could say. So I am working full-time right now. And if things continue to go the way they have been going and continue to grow and expand and awesomeness on YouTube and other things, then I don't know, maybe I can do this as a full-time job, or other avenues will open up. But right now I would probably be considered just working, not a student, which is actually awesome because I freaking hate school. Even the specific study that I was working on, the computer science, which I somewhat enjoy, just going to school and classes, it's been one of the, I think, best decisions I've made to at least take somewhat of a break from school for me. But anyway, thanks for watching the video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Remember to leave a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and leave your questions down in the comment section, and I'll see you guys later.